8,
9.
10.
Yes.
Hey girl, hi everybody. Welcome to another episode.
Hi.
I'm having a bad mouth week.
Oh,
You know
I
how
thought that
you
was a typo.
you know how sometimes you wake up and you just got to cut a sore in your mouth
Yeah.
and that shit
Ooh,
lasts for days and I'm
got a
like, "Where
sore
did
in your
this
mouth?
come from?"
Shanti.
Don't act like you just
Let
get
me see.
it's I know it's not like that. It's just like a paper cut in your mouth. But sometimes I don't know why it happens cuz I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat flesh or bones.
That's a lie.
So why do I have cuts? I'm not
I
engaged in
used
any
to.
type of sexual activity, so it ain't nothing to be scared about. But sometimes you just got a bad mouth week. You do. It's just like my mouth is hurting. And that's what I'm experiencing right now. So shout out to everybody else who has random little tender parts in their mouth. Because why are you would I bite myself in my sleep?
What is Absol? Anbasol. No, that's not how you say it. Anbasol. Yes, it is.
To numb it
That is what I used to use that when I was little.
when you had bad mouth weeks?
I don't know what that was for, but I remember having like something here.
Yeah, sometimes that's where they be at. Their jaw's right here. It's right here.
Don't touch it with your dirty hands. Let me see.
I
Let me
can't.
see. Come
It's not to
close.
be seen. It's not like a gaping
You
sore. It's
need
just tender. It's like, why the fuck is that
Anbasol.
there?
We used to, and it's orange. We used to fuck that up. It's for sore gums, canker sores.
Oh, I might got the cank. I might have got the cank in my mouth. I got a canker sore. That is disgusting. I hate that word.
I hate it
Yeah,
for
that's why you
you.
got fucking cankers in your mouth.
Cank,
Canker sore in
cank.
your mouth. With your canker
Damn.
sore ass and yuck mouth. Damn.
Shut up,
That's
Shanti, please.
crazy town.
Shut up.
So I'm suffering silently over here about that. We just came back. It's Thursday. On Monday, we came back from our trip to Canada. Antoinette, what was it a success? How are we feeling? Can it? She got the hair out
We
and
don't know.
showing.
I
It's
will
giving body,
say it's
girl.
giving
It's
body.
giving
It's short.
layers.
It's
It's
giving layers.
shorter.
It's short. No, it's
Sure.
short. It's short. But I will say that big shout out to Hair by Rima because she said you gonna have to compromise. You either gonna want the body or you gonna want the length because right now the back of your hair. Why
Like,
didn't
what was up
anybody
with that?
tell me?
I ain't
That's
know
what
that. I
y'all.
said, is
I
that the
was like
letter M in the
nobody.
back of her head? Is that a
Nobody can.
W?
It looked like an H
It
without
was
the
an
top. It was an
H.
H. The sides were very long in the back, and then it just shot up and was so much shorter in the middle. And I said, "Why? That's what people been looking at.
Everybody got that tender middle. That middle is tricky for
That
lots
middle
of
is
people.
tricky."
It's our
So she's thinking
spiritual
too that
thing.
my middle was like that because of all them buns I've been wearing. That it's been ripping my hair out slowly but surely. Because usually, you know me, I usually have the rat tail. So I was
This is
very
true. It's
shocked.
the buns.
Well,
Too
I
much of
thought the
one
bun was
thing.
making it grow, and then
She
here I
said,
am.
but on the sides, not in the middle.
I'm I don't know. I'm like 2 steps away from Shirley Temple. I'm like 2 steps away from it, but there's something that's not Shirley about it.
Right,
But I'm
right.
close, like I could be there at any day. I
But
think
you
it's
know
this
what? Your
side.
curls are seeming bigger. They're not
Yeah.
as ringlet. You do that on
No, they're
purpose?
not as well. No, I think so. She taught me a lot. Shout out to her. Her curls were very ringlety, and she was like, "Oh," she said, "I didn't realize that your curls curled like that." And she said, "So," she said, "Do you use a Denman brush?" And I said, "Absolutely." And she said, because the Denman brush, it's what gives you that like real like
Yeah,
ringlet curl."
yeah.
And so I've stayed away from my Denman brush
Wow.
only to detangle. And now what I'm doing is one, know the products that I'm using, straight white girl products. Like not even a mousse. This is a foam and a little serum. That's
Wow.
it. So it's so light. If you're on Patreon, you can see like it's like light. It has some holes in it with a little bit of hairspray. It's the whitest shit ever. But I'm taking my fingers and I'm just raking my hair after I put the product in and scrunching and letting them do their thing, because she kept going through and separating my curls after using the Denman brush, and they would just curl right back up. And she was like, "Oh, you might want to stay away from that Denman brush because your hair is so thin that
It's too defined. Yeah.
that if you get those ringlets, all your hair stuck in one curl and you have no body. You lose the volume."
Dang,
so here I am learning
stuff.
things.
Come on, Rima. Come on, Toronto.
Can I continue on Rima real fast?
Yeah, talk about this beautiful
I
being.
just want to say that's where I got my hair cut. Everybody go check out Hair by Rima on Instagram, REEMA. I love her. Thank you so much, Jasmine, for following her and DMing her and getting me this appointment, because she even admitted, she said, that's the only reason why you got it. She got my attention because I don't have any availability, because she's constantly traveling and doing these lessons on this like Kato cut thing that she does. Wonderful woman. I looked at her beautiful necklace and realized, oh my God, that's Gasa, and she's Palestinian. So she's this Palestinian woman hooking all the curly girls up in Toronto. I was shocked with how many people in Toronto don't know about her. And I was like, get on Instagram, stop playing. But her salon is lovely. Everyone
What's the
has
salon
great
called?
Hair by Rima.
That's by the name of the salon.
I think it is, yeah. It's an amazing salon. There's parking. I thought that was really cool. Like I was like, it was amazing to pull up and be like, oh my God, there's a place to park. Beautiful space, lovely people. Every single girl that walked out of that, or guy or non-binary human, they walked out and they look so good. They look so good. Everybody who works there's hair is so gorgeous. So I was just like, this is like a utopia for curls. So shout out to her. It wasn't even, I've spent double the cost here in New York on haircuts.
Okay.
And so I just want to say shout out to her. I love her. And it was worth it. It's short, but it's needed. And I think I need to accept the fact that my hair might be better short.
This is the shape this is the foundation, you know? Now you're going to grow it out and
see what happens.
See what happens. I think it's just like the bottom layer just needs to come down a little bit and keep those other layers. This right here, right? Yeah, but you keep the layers of everything else. It's going to be keep that short, but have a little bit
keep this short up
even,
here, right?
Yeah, keep the length. And then it's going to be like,
just like boom, get it right here, right?
Oh, that's what they're going to say.
Okay. Go ahead.
Toronto was a lovely city, you know. It was full of beautiful people, a lot of vintage stores. I was shocked. I was like, what's that all about?
A lot of vintage culture.
A lot of T-shirts.
Fake vintage, though.
Fake vintage. I'm going to call
it out.
They were
screen printing it.
And then y'all was shocked when the real vintage shirt came. It would be a real vintage T-shirt, and it'd be $100. Y'all be like, "What the fuck? Why the fuck is this Cheetos shirt $100?" And I was like, "Well, it's the only one that's left on the planet." But shout out, the food was good. We went to Miss Licklemore's.
That was good. The Chinese food was mid.
Those wings were banging, dog. Are you kidding me?
I thought the Chinese food was mid. And that little, what was the other place you went to?
We gotta stop for a minute. What are you rating your Chinese food by? Because the things that we rate Chinese food by, we didn't have.
I didn't get wings. I
ate some of my wings though.
Yeah, they were all right. They weren't better than like the wings that come in the wax bag from the hood. They weren't.
Do y'all have hood places?
Yeah, but we weren't there. Stores? We were downtown.
Where is the hood? Not in Toronto, no, right?
We didn't find it. We were just in Chinatown.
Y'all didn't have that. It was a good ratio of blacks, though. You know, it was a good ratio. But it was like
that many.
Not that many. To every 12 people, there was 2 blacks.
But when they was black, they were gorgeous blacks. I said, wow.
Good-looking
gorgeous.
people. They
Like,
were all around
stunning
healthy-looking
humans.
people.
Yeah.
Kind, friendly,
Yeah.
you know, intuitive in a way. We'd be looking around, boom, like fairy godmother. Where you trying to go? What you trying to eat? Can I help you? Where you from? Genuine. It was interesting.
Are you going to talk about Stacked at all? Because I low key,
Yo.
that was
We
busted.
woke up and I was like, oh, we got to get some breakfast. Breakfast is my favorite food. I get very excited for breakfast. Continental breakfast makes me moist. I won't lie. So I was ready and excited for this, for a breakfast place. So I Googled Stacked. I was like, cool, the food looked good. Mind you, just looking at photos. And then we pull up and it's a straight up, like, very commercial, like Denny's
IHOP.
situation. And me and Nana looked at each other. Shout out to Nana who joined the trip. And I was just like, we were like, girl, like, I wanted it to be bougie and cute and, like, local.
You ain't look at the pictures?
I did, and the picture, it looked good.
Oh,
it looked good.
wow.
And it had a 4.9. Okay?
It deserved it.
We went in that joint, still really apprehensive. Nice list of things, Donna got a cinnamon bun pancake stack. I go
ridiculous.
traditional. That's how I measure my breakfast place. How are your potatoes, eggs, toast? Real basic. Potatoes, eggs, toast. Amazing. Those potatoes weren't overly fried. Soft, crisp, and flavorful as fuck.
They were flavorful. They used
hot
Lowry.
sauce.
Yeah.
They got real hot sauce in that motherfucker too.
Mm-hmm.
Stacks,
Agreed.
you all right with us?
Shout out to Stacks.
We-
Stacks was banging.
Out of all the breakfast places in Toronto, 4.9.
That was it.
Ain't nobody else beat 4.9. The people knew, and they led us the right way. So that was nice. But it was nice. Came back, missed the eclipse, which I felt sad about, or like frustrated with myself that I'm not the type of person that geeks out about that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, I wish I could have, but I didn't. Yeah, and Jolie saw it, and she was very excited by it, and I was like, damn it. Did you see it?
No. We had overcast, so we couldn't even see it like that. I watched it on the news during work.
That's all.
I'm shocked that you didn't. I would like to make sure a couple things that I need to correct. I was drunk the last episode, or drinking, not drunk, and I flubbed, y'all. I said Dawn Staley was out of the women's basketball. That was just ridiculous. I saw USC and for some reason connected that with Dawn, and no, that's not her school or her team. So I do apologize. We're gonna put some respect on Dawn Staley's name during our pop culture segment. But I also would like to correct make sure that everyone knows that I did not bring drugs into Canada.
would y'all
Thank you
think
all
that?
for writing me and being like, here are the laws. You gotta be careful, cuz. And I was like, okay, that was a joke. It was
She
vitamin
brought
C.
so much crack cocaine to distribute. on
They
the
thought they
Toronto
had me
streets.
though. That was the thing. What really
I was
happened was
shocked.
we got to the border. Shanti said me and Nana were being way too nice to what was his name?
We pull up to the toll
Here
guy.
you go.
Mind you, he's a fucking patrol officer. Like, he's not a toll ticket dude. Like, this man is here to guard the borders of Canada. You heard me? From
name?
America, okay? From the worst place in the world. We pull up. Nana and Antoinette are like, hey, what's your name? Hendrix. He's like, oh, hi, what are you here for? I'm getting my hair cut. That's silly, but yes, we're doing it. They were so chummy with this nigga. He was like, pull over to the right, please.
He did.
They're like, what? Why did they say that? What are we getting pulled over? These two brolic ass Canadian women came out. Barefaced, blonde,
Not
ponytails
barefaced.
to the back of their heads, brolic. They was not playing. Yeah, would you please? They said you might want to put your fucking sweater on and stand over to the side of the car
she did.
while I check your low riding ass Nissan Altima.
First of all, bitch, watch your mouth. Okay.
That's what they said. Antoinette and Nana were like, "What? Oh no!" I was like,
"No." I was calm, because I knew there was one little thing in the back that I was like, "I don't know if this is a problem." And what did I do? I was cool. I was standing there. First of all, they put us on the pavement, and we was sitting there like dopes waiting. And then they were like, ma'am, we need your keys. They're opening up the trunk. I'm like, oh my God, they taking suitcases out. Then she's like, come unlock the suitcase. I said, damn. As soon as she said unlock the suitcase, I was like, tricky.
Because what did you bring?
Nah, nothing. But it was tricky. And I said, wait a minute now. And I looked at Shanti. I said, all right, so listen, depending on how that suitcase go, here go my card. This is how you get the money out. You got Tina's number. If you forget, she knows how to get the money out. It's liquid. And then I tried to call my mother. She didn't even answer the phone. I'm like, she's not even ready for this. So if I get locked up at the border, nobody's got me.
You cross the border, mama. I would go across the border, pie.
I remember that.
To bring you back. And what you need tonight.
Whose song was that?
Major Figures. That's a real Philly shit right there.
Shout out to Philly. Shout out to Philly.
That was crazy.
Anyway,
and
that was crazy. They searched everything. And then she came out. She thought she had me, y'all. She's like, is this yours? This your vehicle? And she had this little mason jar of white dust.
It was a small vial.
It was not a vial. It was a small mason jar
in it
of L-absorbic acid, which is vitamin C. And I was like, yes, that's mine. It's vitamin C. And I was like, do you want to, she opens it. I'm like, see, that's how I know you don't know what you're doing, because you shouldn't really be opening it, because it could have been anything.
She did.
Mama.
She sniffed that shit and everything.
Right,
she opened it could have been anything. Into Nana's face.
If that's fentanyl, you're dead. What are you doing, dummy?
She says,
that was
what
how
is
I knew.
this?
I was like, we gonna be all right.
What is this?
Anyway, don't travel with vitamin C.
Don't travel with Antoinette, because she doing stuff you don't know about.
No,
I was shocked.
I forgot. I was shocked, but I didn't have drugs. All right, move on. That's it. Those are my updates. Did we have fun? We got a little snippy with each other sometimes, but I thought we did all right.
Yeah, it was all right. I was like, oh, yeah.
It was like a 70, right?
Yeah. It was all right. Yeah. It was cool.
Yeah, it was all right.
She'll talk about that later.
I was like, do we travel well together? You wanted it to be more fun than what it was?
No, I'm not attached to anything. It is what it is. It was what it was. It was cool.
I will say that Shanti woke up in the middle of the night and was like, no! And then turned back to bed. And I was like, in the middle of the night.
Twice you said.
Yeah, you told me no. And I was like, I'm not even doing anything.
For real? Were you crawling into the bed?
Open. No,
That's
I was
scary.
Already in the bed.
I don't have
turned the other way. I had my headphones in,
that.
watching. Oh, y'all! I finished The Walking Dead, all the spinoffs. Finally, terrible, just terrible. But that's what I was doing, and you were like, "No."
Oh, every time I got in the bed, you was asleep. So you must have woke up and I don't know.
Tricky. Please rate, review, and subscribe, and share around the way, curls. That's it. Please, may you please. Also, you want to do a Patreon plug?
Shout out to all of the patrons have joined our Patreon, in which you can watch this podcast in video form. It's subscription based, so you can pick 5, 7, or 10. If you are already a subscriber and you're like, yo, I really want to keep showing love and make it rain on these two girls, you can up your subscription. You can go from 5 to 7, 7 to 10, 5 to 10. Just don't go from 10 to 5, okay? Shout out to all of the patrons that have joined and are already engaging. We see you. Danielle, Nicole, Millicent, Sepang, Ishmael, Gabrielle, Kaela. Is that right, Antoinette? Kayla.
No.
Kayla. apologize.
Ella is nuts.
I'm like that white teacher. Oh. What was his name? Aaron. What did he say? Anyway. Aaron. Aaron. Romeo, Jasmine, Shelby, Laverne, Tracy, and Jen. Shout out to all of y'all. You know who you are. Welcome to our world. And if you're a patron, guess what? You get extra exclusive content and community time with us. We have a patron kickback where everybody joins and talks and shares in a discussion. This discussion is centered around Ava DuVernay's Origin, which came out, and Antoinette really wants all of us to see it, to discuss it. I'm excited to complete it. This is April 31st at 7 p.m. So make sure, Eastern time. So make sure if you're a patron to come through and just talk or not, be a part of the community that you're invested in, okay?
Thank you. Also, for hot shit, we have a couple really exciting things. First up, you may remember last year, near the end of the year, we
Oh, what happened?
Monty, take that out. You may remember last year at the end of the year, we partnered with Culture LP. Shout out to that Black-owned company. We're partnering with them again today, this year. And guess what? We have a bit of a giveaway. They are gifting us 10 total tickets. We're using 3 of them to go see a Broadway show. And the show is Home. And Home is a muscular and melodic coming-of-age story that gives voice to the unbreakable spirit of all Americans who have been searching for a place to belong.
Yes.
Home is also blackity black, black, black. So let's bring our asses out and support. I cannot wait to be in the audience with the community. The date that we're going to go is May 19th at 3 p.m. So if you are in the tri-state area, if you just happen to be in New York of the cities, please let us know by emailing us at aroundthewaycurls@gmail.com. And the first 7 people to do so will get the tickets. It's just that simple. It ain't going to be a whole lot of hoops you got to jump through. And we just want the folks who bang with us to come out, enjoy the show, hang with us for a little bit, and it'll be great. Again, that's May 19th at 3 p.m. And we're going to limit, if you have a +1, if you email us, you're like, hey, me and one other person want to go, just 1 + 1. You can't say, hey, I'll take all 3 tickets or I'll take all 7 tickets. Not going to work like that. So anyway, yeah, that's very exciting. We also have one more giveaway with them.
Oh, generous. Come on.
But I'm going to announce that next week because I want to make sure I know how to say the name right. And I emailed them asking how do I say the artist's name, and I don't know how to say it just yet. So
well, I appreciate that.
It's in a beautiful, I think, French. And I'm like, huh? But he black too. And that's May 1st. Okay, that's for the New York Philharmonic, but more to come, all right? Anyway, also, other exciting news. Guess what? You supposed to say what?
What? Girl.
Mandy has a Kickstarter. Our beloved Mandy B is doing an animated series. This girl is crazy. I love this for her. She's crazy.
In the best ways.
The animations are so cute. This is for her new podcast. Well, it's not new, but it's back. Period, sis. And wait, I just got confused. Let's do it one more time. Sorry, Monty. This is for her podcast that is not new, but it's coming back. Period, sis. And yeah, she writes on her Kickstarter where womanhood takes center stage in all its messy, hilarious, and sometimes taboo glory. This isn't your typical coming of age story. It's a fearless dive into the roller coaster ride of womanhood. Co-created by Mandy B and Alfie, our animated series follows 3 high schoolers as they navigate the messy journey from girlhood to womanhood. Expect raw, real, and often hilarious experiences of adolescence served with a fearless honesty and humor. Who wrote that? It's really good. Anyway,
is Mandy writing this or she's producing it?
both, I believe.
She wrote
She's
the
producing.
project?
She's definitely helping with the storyline. I don't know if she's sitting there writing all the script, but this was her baby. This was her thing.
Mandy got like Beyonce, like a lot of
on the
different.
Not even on the low, on the high. But you can go to the Kickstarter. The description is going to be linked in this episode descriptions. Not the description. The link is going to be linked in this episode description. And so you can check out like all of the little cute characters. You can see all of them. The animation is beautiful. Nicole, Crystal, Bernice. I think Crystal's my favorite right now. Oh no, Aunt Flo. Christopher, Val Tizzle, Miss Tizzle, and Cynthia Batty. Damn. Anyway, it's very dope. I'm very proud of her, and it's quite ambitious, and so I want to make sure that our community supports her as much as she supports us. So big shout out to Mandy and the folks over at Period Sis. And lastly, the hood rat in me. Have you heard Glorilla and Meg's song Wannabe?
I can't seem to ever pay attention to it because the marketing is all women shaking their ass too, and I get like Megan has the challenge and the music's in the background, and I don't pay attention to it. I'm just watching all these women shake their ass in ways that is just artful, masterful, just hypnotizing.
Listen to it. Don't watch it. Put it on your... I like it. I actually really like it, and we watched, you didn't finish, but we watched I love Glorilla. Mm-hmm. I'm really liking Glorilla. I'm sad that her and JT are beefing. They was going back and forth. JT was going back and forth with everybody this week. I don't know what was going on.
JT broke up. The City Girls are done. You know that, right?
I don't think they're making music no more, but they're not
friends.
Really? Mm-hmm. Or they just be fighting like that. I can't get my hands out of my hair. It's annoying.
I'm not sure.
Well, sad. But she had a great interview, a really lovely interview with Shannon Sharp, where you could just tell that their little Southern energy was mixing in the most perfect way, and that he was enamored with her, and she felt comfortable with him. She just feels like a real one, like somebody that I would love to hang with.
She reminds me of a childhood friend. Her mannerisms, her body type. I look at her and I'm like, I know you, but she's really sweet. Where is Shannon from?
Shannon? Where's Shannon Sharp from? The South? Child, he used to eat raccoon.
Oh.
He talked about it. He's like, you ain't never had no coon? Shannon? Where is he from? Oh, he was born in Chicago, but he wasn't raised in Chicago. Cause he
from the South?
I forget where
Georgia?
His grandma. No, he's not from Georgia, but I forget where he was raised. Because he talks about his grandma and his grandpa. Shannon Sharp was raised, Glenville, Georgia. Mm-hmm.
So she would say no.
No, because he's in Atlanta now, but I knew he didn't grow up in like the city, like Atlanta. Anyway, but y'all check that out. That's the hot shit for this week. And let's take a break, and we'll be back with abortion rights and possibly bird flu and Dawn Staley and J. Cole and Drake and OJ.
Not OJ. Shit. After these messages, we'll be right back.
Boop. You changed it.
You gotta mix it up for people, you know what I mean?
We ain't even talk about how y'all learned y'all parts on a Miley song. You ain't learned your part.
That. I didn't. I can't, to this day, I don't know what the note is I was supposed to do.
You would be on it, but you only on it if somebody's singing it with you. As soon as we add the harmony, you be like, I go where I want.
I follow you. You going up, I'm going high too. We can do this together.
Nana had it. So we skipping bird flu and going into Arizona first?
Sure.
All right, hold on. Let me get this thing queued up.
Let me close my door. It keeps creaking and it's scaring me.
Yeah, Glow. Creamers on creamers. That's not even a song. You saw Meg on Women's Health magazine? It's a bad little girl. It's a bad little girl.
Excuse me, would you mind taking a picture of us?
Oh, no problem.
Thanks.
Ooh, yes, problem.
You need Verizon. Get the new iPhone 15 Pro
I gotta
with tons
start
of storage.
using
So you can take all the pics.
what's his
Trade
face?
in
He
any
got
iPhone in any condition and get iPhone 15 Pro on
the
us. Only on
YouTube
Verizon.
without the
But yesterday, the Arizona Supreme Court set the state's abortion rights back.
Create more chaos for women and doctors in our state. A couple weeks,
God damn it.
the near total Civil War era ban that continues to hang over our heads only serves to create more chaos for women and doctors in our state.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
And we're back. So politics as usual. Wow. God. Arizona Supreme Court rules a near total abortion ban. Boy. The ruling allows an 1864 law in Arizona to stand that made abortion a felony, punishable by 2 to 5 years in prison for anyone who performs one or helps a woman obtain one unless the mother's life is at risk. I'm gonna say that again. The only exception is if the mother's life is at risk. Not the child's life, not incest, not rape, not nothing. Now, again, this law was on the books in 1864. For context, we didn't even have electricity in 1864. Arizona was not even a state in 1864. Women couldn't even vote in 1864. But this is the law that they have decided to put into place in Arizona. Now, the thing that's very interesting here is that Trump he isn't anymore, he was touting that he was responsible for overturning Roe v. Wade. He was the one that put these conservative judges in place.
That nigga like, nah, that's y'all.
Now he sees that it is a losing battle. It's a losing argument. And so he's saying, oh, no, hold up. What I'm saying is, this is before this happened, I believe that states should decide the law. Not that abortion should be banned, but it should be states that decide how many weeks, yada, 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 all of the stipulations. So Arizona, a state, comes out and says, boom, here it is. And he's like,
wait,
this
what?
is a terrible idea.
Why are you doing this? You know this
So
is
now
nuts,
he's
right?
flip-flopping yet again, saying that the Democratic governor needs to work to get the law changed.
He is unreal.
And what's crazy is people are still backing him, okay? Carrie Lake, who is a Republican, I don't know if we've talked about Carrie Lake because she was also an election denier in Arizona. Carrie Lake is a Republican. She's currently running for Senate. She lost to the current governor, Katie Hobbs. She's also flip-flopping, right? The current governor of Arizona, I should be specific. She's also flip-flopping, saying she doesn't support the law when she's on tape during her candidacy for governor, citing the law and saying that that's the law that should be the law of the land. Now that they realize that most Americans want abortion and reproductive rights, that are in favor for that, flip-flop, flip-flop, flip-flop. And so this is a losing issue. And a lot of Democrats are like, well, this is great for us. It's terrible for the women and men in Arizona, but it's great for us. This is going to be yet another thing that we can use to run. We just talked about in Florida how Florida came down, not with a ruling this drastic, but with a ruling that limits abortion. I believe it was 6 weeks only.
6 weeks.
And so Biden and campaign, they immediately started to buy some commercial ads there to, combat that ruling. It made me think about the Democrats for a second. Because I'm sitting here, I'm like, I know that this is wrong. I know that I am not in favor of this, right? But then I started to think, well, Joe Biden during the State of the Union, he's saying...
clarify what is wrong. The fact that Democrats are going to leverage this? What do you mean?
No, I think that that's strategically, that they have to. I think what is the actual law is wrong.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And the fact, like, I'm for Roe v. Wade. Mm-hmm. I'm for women having the right to have autonomy over their bodies. I started to think about all of the promises that Joe Biden has made around abortion, how this is something that he's running on. This is something that he hopes is going to help him get reelected. And I was like, well, how does he get abortion protected on a federal level again? Because it's not anymore. And right now it is indeed up to the states. And he keeps saying he's going to make Roe v. Wade the law of the land again. And so I was like, well, how does he do that? So, to be very clear, Biden would have to not only win the White House again in November, but Democrats would also simultaneously have to reclaim the House and hold the Senate, because those are the two things that make up Congress, right? And Congress is who passes legislation. And so that's a very hard thing to do, is like, you have to have the majority in both, right?
The last time that happened was Obama, right? And they didn't codify it.
They didn't do it, but it's a little deeper than that, because even when you have that, there's something called a filibuster, where you can have the majority, but the Republicans can step in and filibuster. So even if the Democrats did sweep in November, meaning they got the White House, they get the House of Representatives, and they get the Senate, there's still additional hurdles, because in the Senate, again, you can filibuster. So, what is a filibuster? So this is like some stupid ass tradition that really needs to go away, but Democrats use it too, so they don't want to get rid of it just in case they need it. But the Senate tradition is basically unlimited debate. And so this is where, it's a loosely defined term really, but this is where somebody gets up and in order to prevent a vote or a bill or a resolution, amendment, whatever, to go through, they just talk and filibuster for like hours until they're like, okay, we couldn't meet a resolution, and now it's done. And people have absolutely filibustered successfully in the past, and you do it all night. The senators are in there just waiting and waiting for this person to shut up, but they just won't. And then they've successfully stopped a law. To me, the filibuster is so archaic and dumb, and not even, I just feel like it's this unnecessary thing that we have in the Senate and that they have at their disposal. But again, Democrats would have to vote to get rid of the filibuster, and they haven't yet. And a large part of that is because, well, what if they need it down the line? It's kind of like the same reason why, there's a fear of putting more, it's a little different, but a fear of putting more people on the Supreme Court. It's like, well, what precedent does that set? Does that mean that every time a new president gets in, that we're just going to keep changing the court to fit our needs? So it's a slippery slope. But in order to successfully beat a filibuster, they would need 60 Democratic votes to overcome a Republican filibuster. That's like the magic number. Or 50 Democrats willing to vote to get rid of the filibuster altogether. And so I just want to make that clear that, it's not the easiest thing for Biden to just say, we're going to make this the law of the land. There's a lot of steps. And so this is another thing where the Democrats are like, you got to vote for us. You got to trust us. But if you just vote for the president and you don't get these senators in, then they're going to be able to say, well, Congress blocked it, you know? And there's this thing that I think a lot of people believe that, like, oh, why doesn't Joe Biden just make it the law of the land again? And that he actually doesn't have that power. And so I'm trying to make that really clear. Also, if he did successfully get all of this done, right? Let's say either they get rid of the filibuster or they sweep, Democrats win House of Representatives, Senate, White House, and they win by these huge margins, which the country is so divided, they won't. That somehow we're able to pass this legislation through very easily. There's going to be legal challenges. And, you know, the legal challenges are going to be like, well, does Congress even have the authority under the Constitution to guarantee access to abortion? That's going to have to go through a whole bunch of legalese and all this bullshit. And so it's quite the battle, quite the thing that we're up against. And so I don't know. I don't know.
Well, what do you
how
think?
We get there? Huh? Go ahead.
What do you think about? Don't you think that this something like abortion is going to activate and really, activate local elections in a way now? If it is in the hands of the states for people to be like, hold up, I don't want this in my state. I need to make sure that this, you know, who I'm voting is not in support of this. Is going to do everything that they need to do to make sure that it's not happening. And is that the worst scenario?
Well, a couple of things there. I hope, yes, it will activate folks. But then you get into this conversation around, for different people, and this is a personal thing, of like, what issues matter to them most. You have foreign policy, Ukraine, the genocide in Gaza, China, Iran, right? All of North Korea, all the things. You have the economy, inflation, school loans. Can I afford to feed my fucking family? You have reproductive rights, what we're talking about. You have immigration. You have equality, civil rights, DE&I, access to books. You have LGBTQIA, right? Then you have climate change. And then you have gun control, right? For some people, they're going to look at that and say, well, this candidate, I don't agree with this candidate on how they are dealing with the economy. The economy is my number one priority. So I'm going to go to the other candidate who I like their views on the economy. I don't like their views on reproductive rights, but that's not my number one priority. And so you have this thing where, like, how much does it matter? How much do all of these vying issues matter? And that's a really personal conversation for a cisgender white man. I don't know how much he cares about, you know, I don't know. Let's say that Michael over in West Virginia, I'm stereotyping now, who's making $40,000 a year, maybe less. His family used to make a whole lot more in the coal mines, you know, who is a very devout Christian. I don't know if he cares about reproductive rights. You know, I don't know if the lady across the hall from me, who's very religious, Black woman, and struggling to feed herself, cares as much about reproductive rights. We don't know, is my point. It's like there are these conflicting things within each candidate. It's like Joe Biden, for instance. I agree with Joe Biden on reproductive rights. I do not agree with Joe Biden on his foreign policy with Israel.
Right, but the question is, what if it's up to the states about the abortion laws? Though it's not about
But the people
president.
that you're, but that's my point. Is like even well, not even just the president, even your senators and your representative, like they back a certain president, especially right now in this climate. So like even right now it's more party driven, and that's the fucked up part. So it's like Democrats feel this way, Republicans feel this way, and unless it's like on the ticket for people to actually vote, yes, this is what I want, yes, I agree with this law or not, your representative has to then represent you. And if they're just doing their partisan politics where they're just falling into the Republican line and the Democratic line, do you get represented? And there's no party that's going to represent you fully. So then you're left with, what are the things that are most important to me? That was actually a question that I had on here, which is why I had all those things listed. It's like, if we had to sit down and rate them, and I think that's something that everybody should do, what are your priorities? Foreign policy, economy, reproductive rights, immigration, equality, civil rights, climate change, and I forget the other one that I said, gun control. And there's more than that, but what are your priorities? And that's going to help you determine who gets your vote.
I know that makes me so discouraged because there is an archetype, or it seems like there's an archetype of what a Democrat represents, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, which is not very progressive in a lot of ways. Yes, it's like for women. Yes, it says it's for it seems like the Democrat mascot is this progressive, yes for abortion, yes DEI, yes
for abortion,
for protecting women's rights. Just the way that Biden, even the mayor of Philadelphia in this moment, 49% of the city's budget is now going to the cops.
Policing?
Yeah, to policing. 49%. 16% is going to education. It's just like, but she checked all of the marks of what a good Democratic candidate is, but it's like
Did she?
In a lot of ways, like of what we were being offered, of who was running, like against her, the Republican nominee, like, yeah, it feels like there is no nuance, or there is no real variety in an actual viable, like, yes, we have, what's the nigga's name? What's his name? Nigga that talks a whole bunch. What is his name? Bruce brother. My brothers and sisters, we are here today to talk about.
Oh, he just announced his running mate. What's the brother's name?
Oh God, y'all know who I'm talking about. But like,
Cook.
It's
What's his name?
It's an option, but it's not really an option. All you have is Biden, and Biden is not really. I guess I'm just saying a bunch of words to say that I don't feel like, even if the most important thing to me in this moment was, let's say Gaza. Let's say it is about race relations in America and centering and making sure that Black history is not, Cornel West is not being erased. Biden's not, I don't have any options. All you have is Biden. What do our priorities and what's important to us really matter? I feel like we have to, what we feel the most defensive about, what we feel like we want to protect the most, what do I feel like is the risk the most is what you end up voting for versus what is actually most important to you and what you really want to see upheld, protected, you know, used as something that could possibly push this quote unquote needle forward of change. It's like, actually, it always ends up being the reverse. It's like, we don't have time, we don't have a candidate that actually support that. You know, the risk is reproductive rights in this moment, or I don't know. You know what I mean?
There's so many risks. I do know what you mean. I feel you. I think that, though, this election very specifically, as we see the clock being rolled back on so many laws, whether it's books we're allowed to read, our reproductive health. I mean, there's so many things that are at risk. And so I think that this election, because of the climate and because of the state of the Republican Party, I'm going to be real specific, and Donald Trump, and the state of the Supreme Court, the vote is around what I don't want to see go away. Mm-hmm. That is absolutely what is rooting my vote. Mm-hmm. That I don't want to be brought back to X, Y, and Z. And that is absolutely frustrating, without a doubt. It's frustrating to see that. And I understand the idea of like, we've not made any progress, but I just don't believe that based off of like, that's loud. That based off of like the like, I mean, just the facts of, you know, there was a point where like you and I couldn't vote, you know, like women, we couldn't get a loan. And that feels so ridiculous to even be grateful for. And I get that. But the way in which these laws are, I mean, they literally took it back to 1864 and instituted that. And I'm harping on that because I feel like there are things that I don't think that we should necessarily be grateful for, because they should be our God-given right. But we have to face the reality that they weren't at one point. And we are up against people who don't want them to be. And up against people who not only don't want them to be, but are in a position of power to make it so that they are rolling back the hands of time. Mm-hmm. And so when you say, yeah, this election feels like it's about the things that we don't want to see go away, that feel the most at risk, I couldn't agree with you more. Which to me, I understand how that's frustrating, but it's also very activating. It's like, I don't know that because we've had so many freedoms, even to be in this body as a woman, as a Black mixed race woman, and to still face the stuff that we face every day, there's still so much privilege involved in that.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
And it's not guaranteed. Our rights are not guaranteed to us, as we see. And we are also in a bubble, especially me being in New York, where like my state has already said abortion will always be protected here. I don't have to think about that. But other states, like I cannot imagine being somebody in Florida. I can't imagine being someone in Tennessee. I can't imagine someone being in Texas. I can't imagine being somebody in Arizona. Mm-hmm. I want to play this clip, if that's okay, because I did have it queued up. This is from a press conference after this was announced.
A couple weeks ago, I had an abortion. A safe, legal abortion here in Arizona for a pregnancy that I very much wanted. A pregnancy that failed, like many of my pregnancies before it. And now we're talking about whether or not we should put that doctor in jail. This isn't what the people of Arizona or the people of this country want.
I mean, and I play that just to show an example of like, for folks who think that abortions are just for women who are loose and what are the other stereotypes that they say? Irresponsible, and reckless. It's just not the case. This is a medical procedure. This is like it. So many women need this, and they don't care, and that should scare us. I hate to be one of these people that's fear mongering to get folks to vote, but I'm scared. Truly, I'm scared. I'm scared because I'm like, what the hell is next? What do you roll back next? You know, is it that I can't get paid as much as men? Well, I already don't. But is it because right? But is it that that's not even like I don't even have the equal? What is the Equal Employment Act? I don't even have that anymore because I'm a woman and I menstruate and I might have to take time off for a pregnancy. Well, will I get paid time off? Like, what are you coming for next? What are you going to gerrymander next? What's the next right that you're going to take? Because there's an agenda, a very clear agenda. And, you know, we're in it, but as fucking slaves and mules and disposable pawns. And that's not the life I want to live. But we're watching it slowly happen, in my opinion. But I could be being extra. So that's what I want to leave folks with. What are the issues that matter to you most, and try to sit with that and rank them and really look into what your elected officials, what their positions are on them. You know, really look at that and also form your own opinion on it if you can. It's important to know what you believe for yourself as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that feels, it does feel activating, but also feels super discouraging and hypocritical and it feels like insanity. I don't know. It feels like we're crazy. It feels like this is the same thing is being repeated. It feels like there's a huge elephant in the room that until that becomes like the national discussion. And I feel like the Republicans have done such a great job of dismissing it. And those big discussions being around patriarchy, those big discussions being around racism, those big discussions being around capitalism and colonialism, like it's only going to keep perpetuating. It's not, there's no escaping it until we're all just exhausted, maybe. But I don't know. It feels like a dog chasing its tail in a lot of ways. And I understand the urgency. I understand the defense and the activation that is required. But I also understand it to be like, it's unsustainable. For how long until people are like, wait a minute, why the fuck? Why is this something that we as women, as even as a nation have to reckon with? What is the underlying thing? What is this underlying? Is it voting, or is it this ideology that we like aren't naming, or that we're really at war with, which I feel like as a nation we are really at war with, is the way that Democrats have been cut down, and this woke ideology has been emasculated and made into like a maybe not emasculated is the word, but has been made into a joke. You know, it's been made into its own, it's just easily dismissed, so that you don't have to like sit with it or dissect it. It's just like, oh, that's woke, and you know, it's immediately dismissed and put into a box. It feels really disheartening. It feels really disheartening, and it feels like it's just gonna take so much time to like have a serious conversation around it. And that Republicans are masters at cutting it down, oversimplifying it, making it into a joke, making it into something that people will vote against their own interest. They can't even see it because they're so addicted to this us and them, this enemy, this same kind of ideology that perpetuates racism and patriarchy, that people are just like, oh yeah, sure, makes sense, you know, let's do it. We've been doing it. So I don't know, it's just keep on keeping on. What are we gonna do?
We have to have a like organizer on, a local organizer, to give us more insight on what we are going to do and what we can do. I actually had a list of things we could actively do now, and I forgot to put it on here, to support reproductive rights. I'm gonna try to find that and list it in the description. I hear you. That's it. I hear you.
It's like yeah.
All right. Well, let's lift ourselves up. Do you want to talk about bird flu at all?
No.
Or...
We might have another pandemic coming, y'all. Be careful now. Watch the birds now. The bird flu has now spread to the cattle in at least 6 states in the United States. 1 human has been infected, although it has not been fatal. Scientists are keeping their ears and eyes to the streets. But child, they said COVID-19 came from the goddamn chicken market in China. That's what they said. So careful. Careful, everybody. All we need is another pandemic.
It's in the meat, right? Yeah. Tricky.
It's not being transmitted like normal viruses, basically. You know, it's not. They're not seeing an overload in the nose and mouth. They're saying it's what do they call it? Mechanical transmission. Whatever the fuck that means.
What is that?
I don't know.
You just be putting stuff
That's
on
what
here.
it says.
This is
copy and paste. It's mechanical transmission.
That's my point. You gotta look it up.
Scientists are suspecting may be spread through the actual milking process. It's more tactile. Like it goes into the milk.
You're saying words.
It's not like, for instance, if the cow has the virus, right? It's not being transferred. I don't know, child.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't say here. It's not. It's a mechanical transmission. It's not through a basic respiratory passing. So that's why that's why they're upset, because it's unusual. Okay, something very unusual is happening, and there are not high amounts of viral shedding in the nose and mouth like most viral respiratory infections, but rather it is a mechanical transmission which scientists are suspecting may be spread through the milking process. I don't know. They're not seeing it in the nose. They're seeing it in the goddamn milk.
It's okay.
Crazy. I don't know. I don't get it. Watch out, though. Ferrets getting it, too.
Watch out now.
It's going to the birds. The ferrets are catching it as well, child.
Oh, no. Not the ferrets.
Mm-hmm. They're running tests, and the ferrets are getting it.
Tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Well, last but not least, Tennessee lawmakers are voting on a bill to arm teachers with guns in schools. Pop culture. That's something I
What did
can't
you
get
say?
into that shit. Pop culture, we off it. Let's lighten the load. McCann, take it. Dawn Staley, let me right my wrongs. Hold, please. I live in the ghetto. Some beautiful sounds of Flatbush singing to me. Do you hear it, everyone?
There are a lot of fire
Monty, leave that in.
trucks.
No, girl, because I live on the street right by the hospital, and I have 2 old persons' homes right by me. So
So they send the fire trucks?
saving them.
Because it'd be the fire trucks. I'd be like, damn, they got a lot of fire action around in Brooklyn.
It's ridiculous.
not
You know
the-
what would irritate me? If I was an old person and just needed to go to the hospital for an asthma, and they brought a fire truck. Relax.
I would love it. I'd be like, yeah, pick me up.
Until you got to pay for that shit.
Put me in
Them
there.
ambuli are
Put on my
not
Medicaid.
cheap.
Put on my card. That's crazy.
All right. Let me right my wrongs. Let me talk my shit about Dawn Staley. Okay? Because that was embarrassing. I can't believe you let me say that.
You know, I don't know what the fuck.
I know you don't know, but it was so.
UCLC.
And you know what's crazy? When I was hyped to watch the game on the drive home from Canada,
Oh, boy.
Canada, it's tricky, and I didn't even have a drink. From Canada, I knew. I was like, did I say her name on the podcast? I was like, I know I couldn't have. I know I said Angel Reese. I know I said Juju. I couldn't have said her name. I know I didn't, and I did as somebody that's out. So I would like to apologize. I'm sorry. Anyway, Dawn Staley, the North Philadelphia God. She's a native of 25th and Diamond.
Come on, North Philly.
Also known as Dawn Staley Way now. She started playing sports outside at rec centers. She also played football in the street with the boys. I was watching a podcast where she was talking about that. She's all of 5'6". She's a short little thing. But she went to Dobbins, Randolph, because she didn't want to take public transportation anywhere, which is a vocational school. Shout out to Philly. Everybody that knows about Dobbins. Whoop, whoop. And she became a National High School Player of the Year. She started playing ball at the University of Virginia, where she was an NCAA women's basketball 2-time Player of the Year and led her team to 3 Final Fours and a national title game. She also, wait, that's out of order. I should have waited on that. But she is the only individual to win, not to win, but to be inducted in the Hall of Fame as both a player and a fucking coach, which is crazy. And she's the first black coach to win 3 divisional national championships. She also, during her playing career, was part in the 1996 gold medal Olympics team that helped solidify and create what is now known as the WNBA.
All right now.
And she said, we knew what was at stake. We knew there was a WNBA in the waiting and that there was the ABL in the waiting. It was all depending on how successful we were as a team. And we also wanted to show America, our nation, that women playing at the peaks of their careers was truly something special. And so in June 1997, I don't think that I realized how much of a baby the WNBA is. That was when the WNBA was created. She was also selected by her peers. They won the gold medal, by the way. I think I said that. But she was also selected by her peers to carry the U.S. flag in the opening ceremonies in 2004, which is like a huge... That's like out of all the athletes going to the Olympics, we pick you. That's a big fucking deal. I'm so proud of her. And she would go on to serve as an assistant coach for the 2008 and 2016 U.S. Olympics teams. And then in 2017, she was named the head coach. And she was also the head coach in 2020. She's had a ton of success, obviously. But I think the most important and compelling thing about Dawn Staley is that the relationship that she has with her players, the relationship that she has with her coaches, her demeanor is she's still from Philly. You see it on her, but she's wildly professional on and off the court. She gives people their just due. She gives them their respect. She also is not afraid to tell a reporter when they make, because she has a lot of black players on her team, obviously, and she's not afraid to be like, you know, one coach once said, you know, people describe it as like going to like a bar fight, and she was like, we are basketball players. There's no bar fight. We're not thugs. We're not this. We're not that. Like, she's quick to quickly correct the media and how they cover her team. She's also quick to hold her team accountable. And I just love her. And she could get it.
She cute.
Dawn could get it. You don't know Dawn Staley? Did you grow up like knowing her?
No. I mean, I
Wow.
saw her in the lexicon of like, you know, female basketball players, but I didn't follow her career. I always knew of her. I always saw her as like the mascot for.
I skipped over the fact that she was a coach at Temple while she was still playing, which is crazy. But she's amazing. She's amazing, and I apologize. That's all I wanted to say.
Shout out
I
to
love
her.
Dawn Staley.
Shame on
She could get
Philly
it.
for covering over her mural on 8th and Market. Why y'all do that?
She'll get another one, I think. She has
Get
to,
that shit
because
back.
it's like, what?
I loved it. It was a
She
dope
has
mural
to.
too. It was tough. Why would they do that?
Yeah. Shout out to her.
We did not talk about this, but here we are. Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole,
Kendrick Lamar.
and Drake are beefing. Kendrick is going
No, they
against both of them niggas 2-on-1, and apparently he's whooping their ass.
No, they not.
He's not whooping their ass. Kendrick Lamar's not whooping their ass in this moment.
Now, I'm not saying... Now, you already know that Kendrick, I feel, is the best out of the three of them, by far. But Kendrick and J. Cole are not beefing because J. Cole bowed out. He said, I don't want this smoke. And
Whooped his ass.
we're friends.
You out of here.
We're friends.
All right.
But I wrote a long thing about Kendrick and Drake and the history of them. They got beef. And Drake tried to act like he don't have beef, like he don't sub-diss him all the time. And like he wasn't caught in an interview that never came out where his publicist was like, nah, dead that, where he was talking shit about Kendrick. And then it's also, he's the type to throw a rock and hide his hand, because then, and after he does the sub-diss, he'll then tweet some shit like, oh, congrats to Kung Fu Kenny.
Sneaky,
And it's like,
sneaky
bro,
little-
you being
Ugh,
fucking weird.
ugh,
Don't do that
he's
shit.
slaying.
And Kendrick's like, I don't fuck with you.
I don't fuck.
Say my name. And the thing is, the sneak disses, he won't say his name, but he references some of Kendrick's lines, some of his songs, talks about the conscious rapper, how he put him on, and all this bullshit.
He
Because
came
Drake
out.
technically put Kendrick, he did put him on tour with him.
Kendrick
when he
had
first
it up
came
to
out.
here. He had it up to here, and J. Cole, however innocent or non-involved, he caught a stray. He got called out too.
He ain't catch a stray. He was aligned with the ops. How you my mans and you aligned with the ops? You on tour with
J.
them doing
Cole
songs
said
and shit.
some shit about the big three, saying it was the three of them, and Kendrick was like, me with you niggas? What the? Absolutely not. So he came out, we all know, or hopefully you're going to learn today, as Antoinette just explained, there's been shit brewing between Drake, Kendrick. I feel like J. Cole has some shit involved too. I mean, either way, even if J. Cole didn't want smoke, Kendrick has been coming for his ass and saying snide shit about J. Cole as well.
Really? Before this?
Yeah, what did he say? He had a whole
Oh.
thing. J. Cole's not going to save you. Like, he got shit to say. He don't. I feel similarly that a lot of people try to compare
diss?
J. Cole and Kendrick. Like, try to put them in the same level. And there's like this public, in the collective, people trying to be like, which one do you like more? You know, a lot of younger folks generally really respect J. Cole, and like he's okay. But anyway, J. Cole caught it too. Kendrick came out with on Future and Metro Boomin made an album. He came out of the woodworks on a song like that. He said these niggas talking out their necks, say it's a lot of goofies with a check. He said Kendrick had a whole thing that I didn't understand. I guess you had to be an inside to really understand, really be following, have your finger on the pulse of what the fuck was going on. There's lots of white men that dissect and explain everything to you. You can just go online and you'll be like, once you put the lyrics in and hear the context of it, then you'll be like, oh shit, you really came at him. Everybody was waiting. My nerves. Everybody was waiting for J. Cole. That is my interpretation of it. Like, Kendrick raps well. He puts his words together. Whatever he says, I'm like, ooh, that was probably clever. Do I understand it completely? No. So oftentimes, I do need this white kid that's obsessed with Kendrick to be like, what he means is Kendrick in 1986, he'll explain it to you, and then you'll be like, oh. So we're waiting for J. Cole and Drake to come out. Finally, J. Cole, I didn't even listen to his response, but J. Cole put like I think it's called 7 minutes. I don't know.
7 minutes.
He responded.
Might delete later.
He didn't have much to say. The only thing that he really said that was, directly aiming and coming at Kendrick was around Kendrick's album, saying that To Pimp a Butterfly was a weak album and his last album was the worst, and
he didn't believe it.
He didn't believe it, and everybody was like, "Oh, that was kind of weak." So at Dreamville, J. Cole came out with his sweet biracial self and said, "This don't feel right, y'all. Like, this ain't sitting on my spirit right. I gotta get back to my purpose and on my path." He apologized to Kendrick. It was basically like, I don't want no smoke. I don't want no beef. I'm gracefully bowing out, which has caused a lot of, people have a lot of opinions about that, and I would love to hear your opinion as well. But I just want to go back to the real, listen, Biggie and Tupac, I was too young to really understand the nuance of what was going on. I also feel like y'all took it too goddamn far. Like, Tupac's was just a pit bull. Like, he did not have to do and say the things that he said in his diss track to Biggie. Went straight for the jugular, talking about fucking his bitch.
Dave say he lied. He
just gets so mean. So, like, that's not a legacy of hip hop beefs that I uphold very much. But Jay-Z and Nas, let me
Jay got way too mean on that.
Because Nas ethered him, okay? We say ether for a fucking reason,
Plus
okay?
The name of this fucking song.
He said, first of all, started cooking up my weapons, slowly loading up this ammo to explode it on a camel. First of all, all he had to say, he said, the one line that just kills me is he just said dick sucking lips. When he said dick sucking lips to Jay-Z, that's the kind of simple, direct, rude, true kind of shit that you like, yo, he coming at his character and the way this nigga look and the way that Nas composed Ether from a point of like, you ain't shit, I am actually the best at hip hop, going a little bit up, calling him ugly. He just ripped him apart in a masterful way, but it was very, very simple.
Masterful.
I think it's a masterful. If you listen to that, no, it's masterful.
It was simple. It was good. No, Ether's great, but it was simple. It wasn't like the best wordplay MC shit.
Because nobody wants to hear that, Kendrick. Like, I get what you're saying, but I do not need to have a white kid explain to me what you say. I want to hear you just come at him.
Shanti.
I do. I want to be like, oh, shit, he made dick-sucking lips rhyme with you know, something else. Like, that's the kind of shit that I want to hear.
Right.
I really do. And I wanted J. Cole. That's why I actually have faith, maybe, in Drake, for him to possibly, if he comes back with a song to Kendrick, a diss back to Kendrick, maybe he'll be able to offer that, you know, just give us a real good, like, I don't know what you could say about Kendrick, though. I don't know what you could say
Does
about
it count if did he write it? Like, I don't want to hear nothing about Drake. If Drake could come out here with the simplest shit that slaps, it's super commercial, it's pop, everybody fucks with it, but did you write it? This is a rap beef. Did you write it? Because it don't matter if you didn't write it. And listen, Drake ate Meek the fuck up. Meek exposed Drake and said, Drake got ghostwriters. And he does. And then Drake proceeded to, but that's not Meek's lane. Like, Meek is not a battle rapper. Like, that's not what Meek does.
Well, Pusha T
He wasn't going that fight.
also
Pusha T
obliterated Drake as well. Her just reveal that child to the world.
Revealed the child, the mother of the child. Pusha T went, and it was talking about the dude who has MS.
He took it too far a little bit too.
Did he? Did he take it too far? Drake mentioned his fiance in the track before this. Once you mention my lady, we in a beef.
I want something on the line of dick sucking lips. That's what I want to hear.
So why can't you say why? So you could say dick sucking lips, but you can't talk about the condoms in the baby seat. Jay went too far.
Well, Jay responded not from a place. Jay was doing well when he did the Hot 97 shit, and what did he do? He revealed
the Summer Jam screen.
Yeah, like he was winning, but he lost his composure. Jay-Z, he did a Tupac. He was like, I fucked your bitch, and I've been fucking her for 6 months, and she a hoe. Like, when you start doing that, it's like, all right.
That's what Pusha didn't sleep with her, but that's basically what he did.
Similarly, I didn't
say you hire your kid, you cleaning up the lady, but we all know what she did.
That's crazy.
What's up?
That's good.
What's up?
It was very good, and Drake.
He never apologized.
Bruised. So I don't know if he's really ready for this, especially against Kendrick. But also, Kendrick, can you just simplify it a little bit?
Like, I do not want Kendrick to simplify.
I want you to make it simple. I want to be like, whoa.
But here's the thing. Like this track that Kendrick came out with, the whole thing is not a diss track. Like, he addressed it, right? And of course he hopped on a track with 2 other people that got problems with Drake now. Fine. Like, yeah, okay. Optics. But, like, they've been doing this type shit. Will Drake respond? We'll see. I mean, he usually responds, but he doesn't mention his name. Kendrick has been waiting for him to mention his fucking name. Say my name, you little bitch. I mean, he called him out. I think what was that? He called him out during a cypher. When he was like, so when Kendrick dropped Control, that was when everybody went crazy. He was like, oh, he calling everybody out. All the MCs who he called out with Control was like, this is competitive. We're sparring. Like, this is good for hip hop. I'm not taking that personally. I say that I'm the best MC all the time. That's how he's supposed to feel. And he even said, like, I got love for all of y'all, but I'm trying to murder y'all. Period. I'm trying to wear the crown. Mm-hmm. Drake, the only goofy ass that got all in his feelings and did the most, and then wanted to talk to Elliot Wilson about it and try to say, you know, he didn't really respect it. He didn't think it was really that real because he saw Kendrick 5 days later at the VMAs and it was all love. Well, bro, he said on the track it's all love, but he coming for your fucking crown. And then you start your weird sub this shit. The real estate that Kendrick takes up in Drake's head is strange to me. And again, I think Drake is a weirdo because I went through this whole thing where I'm going through like his catalog, and he says these little subliminal disses and then be like, congrats to my brother Kendrick. And Kendrick is like, I don't fuck with you. Mm-hmm. Get out of here, bro. And so I don't want Kung Fu Kenny to dumb nothing down, because here's the thing.
Not to dumb it down, but
here's the thing, because I mean,
I do. For this, I do.
I hear you, but what I'm saying is I don't want him to, because Kendrick has already proved that he can have commercial success. And that's part of Drake's big thing about him is like, one, Drake is always like, you know, I took him on tour, I kind of put him on, and even when Kendrick ate him up during like some Billboard awards at some point where Drake had like all this commercial success, but Kendrick was winning all the awards, and Drake like, this is after years of sub-dissing back and forth. Drake posts screenshots of old DMs between the two of them before Kendrick even dropped New Kid, Mad City. And it's like, oh, bro, yeah, I'm in the studio, da-da-da-da. It's like, you trying to young ball him, or you trying to be like, oh, look at how we used to be? Either way, you've already taken shots at me, so you're being weird by even posting this. That's weird.
I'm not, I get it. I get it. But
I love it.
I want to see them going toe for toe. I get it. Even if he's weird.
Nothing would make me more upset than to see Kendrick not kill Drake with like wordplay in a way that Drake can't. Because again, Drake, to me, I don't think that, I'm not one of these people that denies the fact that Drake can rap but denies his commercial success. Fine. But I think the thing that drives Drake crazy is the fact that Kendrick is an artist. Yeah. And that's why he dropped that line in this of like, yeah, I'm fucking Prince, and you're like, you keep saying that you're Michael Jackson, fine, you be that, but I'm a fucking artist, bro.
I hear what you're saying.
And I don't care about your commercial success. I don't care about this, and this, because I can hop on a track and I can be myself and be, why are you laughing?
Because I
could be myself and be conscious and be all these things, and still people fuck with me. You gotta sing and put barrettes in your hair.
I know. I hear what you're saying.
And be on stage in a bulletproof vest. You corny. Like, Kendrick, please continue to be you. Nothing would make me more upset than to see him do some whack shit.
I don't think
like,
he
not
would.
Him.
I don't think he would. But I think I just miss and would want to see that basic back and forth and not it be so heady on Kendrick's part. And that's all. That's all I'm saying.
I think that that there'll definitely be lines in it. He
said, when with your hands out for my money, man, how much can I take? When these streets keep calling, I heard it when I was asleep. That this Gay Z and Cockefeller Records wanted beef. It's basic, but I just called him Gay Z. It's very basic. It's silly, but this
Shanti.
is I live. When I remember, I love. He killed him though. He killed him. And Jay-Z, even with this basic stuff, and I feel like Jay-Z is probably a far more interesting. I mean, Nas is he's an incredible lyricist, but I feel like Jay-Z is more interesting.
Old Nas, new Nas,
but he still got it up with simple shit. That's it.
I hear you, and I think it's on Drake now. I think that's the thing. It's on Drake now. Kendrick should not. I don't think. No, there's not. Kendrick literally. This is not an album. He's not even listed on this track. It was a surprise when people heard him on it. He's the fucking boogeyman. He ain't on tour. He ain't on stage hollering and screaming like Drake is. He ain't doing shit. He just hopped on a track, said his little couple of lines, and shook up the fucking world. Got J. Cole out here apologizing.
Yeah,
Got Drake over here scrambling. According to Joseph Buttons, I hate to even bring him up, he said that he has on good authority, which everybody came out and was like, you don't know shit. But apparently both camps, Drake and Kendrick Lamar, that they both have their...
I cannot do this.
What?
J. Cole was like, no, I cannot. No.
That's his friend. But him and Kendrick Lamar both have tracks ready to go, and that they are nuclear. And I honestly think,
I hope so.
If I'm being honest, I love what J. Cole did. I really do. I don't love it for hip hop, but this is a grown ass 40-some-year-old married man who's like, this is my friend.
I'm just trying.
I don't feel like I'm not doing this. And I also think that he knows how bad it could possibly get. And he's like, I ain't even want to make that track. I'm not about to start talking shit about my mans.
I love him. I love Kendrick.
Yeah, like that's and J. Cole is who brought Kendrick to Dr. Dre.
I just feel like biracial men shouldn't be allowed to be in rap battles. period. So, what's his name?
You're still kind of rooting for Drake, and it's making
I'm
me
not
mad.
rooting for him at all. What? That's what you got for this whole thing? Is I'm rooting for Drake?
Because you said off air that you felt like Drake. This is like one that you think Drake could get him.
He could, if in the way that I want him
that.
to. I think he could, and it doesn't mean he's a better. Again, it doesn't. It's the rap beef style. It's how you do it. It's not like you as an artist, because Drake could never, ever. I love Kendrick. You know that. I would never pick Drake over Kendrick, but he could just drop some really good lines. You know what I mean? And everybody be like, oh, it just takes those couple lines to be like, oh.
Simpletons. Let me ask you something. How do you feel about what J. Cole did? How do you feel about the apology? People were up in arms.
No, I think that was a beautiful thing, a courageous thing, a honest thing. I love it. But it was light skin too to do it as well. It was light skin as hell to do it.
Toxic.
He should have never done it. He should have never done it. But I love the redemption that he's offering himself to be like, you know what? Actually, I ain't built for this, y'all. I do not want to do this.
He should have never went on tour with the boy and aligned with the boy who was beefing with his mans. I don't fuck with that type behavior.
I mean,
I don't like that. Listen, the men were angry. The men and the women. But the men specifically, they were like, fuck J. Cole. All J. Cole fans was going through it.
I know.
They were on Twitter losing it. They sitting here talking about they throwing away his paraphernalia, his shirts, his everything. They can't do it. They're hanging their head low. I said, y'all gotta grow up. I respect it. Now, he did drop an anti-trans bar in his clapback. That was
he
whack.
called them gays Z. It just goes with the territory, I think. I feel like that stuff should be like,
That's a terrible take.
Well,
that's a terrible take.
I do.
Shanti.
I don't care. I think it just goes with the territory. You know what I mean? I don't think he was intentionally hating on the trans community. And
no, I don't think so
and
either.
it was, in alignment with his
but there's
politics.
Something to be said about how we always, when we want to diss somebody, is we equate them to gay or trans, and then that's the biggest diss.
For this.
So it's something for us to think about.
It is.
You said for this? Oh my god.
For this, it does.
Topic, please.
For me, it just slaps. But go ahead, move, carry on.
That, please. All right. Well, let's see what Drake does. He's supposed to be possibly putting something out tonight. I think Kendrick. Last thing, I think Kendrick might have that interview. I think he might have it. I think he knows what the fuck Drake said. And I think he's been haunting Drake ever since. But I also think Kendrick got some shit on Drake. They both, because it doesn't make sense how Drake will do his little sub diss and then try to be his friend. I feel like Drake is like, I really don't want
this
the
way
smoke
of
over
being.
here because you about to expose me in a different kind of way. Like, what are you going to say about Kendrick Lamar? He went away for 5 years? Okay. He was depressed? Okay. You already talked about it. He did a whole album. What else?
Yeah, it's nothing you can
say.
What else?
He doesn't have as many, number one hits as you? You're miserable. What else?
There's nothing you can say. It's hard. I don't know.
Yeah, what you going to say?
He's short.
You like a chipmunk?
He's short. Yeah, could.
You short, you like a chipmunk. Boo. Ooh, okay. And what you going to say?
I don't know. He could.
You can't say nothing. And then Drake was with the game, making videos at Compton and shit, still sub-dissing him. You did too much. You made this bed, lay in it, bitch. Sorry. I
wonder if Kendrick will even continue
Drake.
on with it. I think there's something that's similar to J. Cole where he's like, I'm not even invested in all of this. Like, I'm not
he is, because Kendrick has been the one actively like, fuck you. Like, Drake will be like, big congrats to my brother, and he'll be like, fuck you, in another song with a sub diss. Like, Kendrick feels like once you cross me and do some foul shit, you've done it. And until we really have it out, I'ma keep on you. I'ma keep on your ass. That's what because if you go back, Kendrick has been the one that's really he been taking shots, but Drake took him and hit his hand.
We'll see how this unfolds.
There's just so much to talk about with Drake. It's dangerous for him.
I know. he's bruised. He's just vulnerable.
Degrassi, the blackface.
Just,
you know, it's real tricky over there. The kid that he was hiding, baby mom. Now they're gonna shame the damn woman, sexually shame that nice lady who cleaned up her image for IG. Let's move on. I text Shanti today, OJ died, and she said nothing. She didn't even respond. Why didn't you respond, Shani?
I was busy throughout the day, and I have nothing to say about OJ. Like, damn, okay. I didn't know he was sick. I didn't know he had cancer. I was. Somebody gonna just send me a picture of somebody pouring out OJ, you know, like pouring it out, and I was like, what? I didn't understand. A lot of people text me. I didn't get the context, and I was like, what? And they're like, OJ died, and I was like, oh, all right.
Damn. Well, OJ, the first black icon in sports, not really at all.
What? Who said that?
I took that from an article. Who said that? Goofy. Heisman Trophy winner, played in National Football League for 11 seasons, primarily with the Buffalo Bills. He was regarded as one of the greatest running backs of all time. Hooked him up with them Hertz commercials, of which he did help pave the way for athletes, especially black athletes, to get some corporate dollars. Ended up turning into a movie star, made 20 movies, including Roots. And Naked Gun, the Naked Gun trilogy, that was probably his most successful movies. He also was acquitted for killing Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ronald Goldman. Love her friend. Very sad there. We don't need to go back and relitigate the trial. But something interesting that I found out today listening to CNN was that I knew that there was a civil trial and that the jury found him liable for both of the deaths and ordered him to pay $33.5 million to the family members of Brown and Goldman. OJ spent years trying to avoid the judgment, and in 2022, TMZ learned that the total amount had escalated to $96 million and likely higher in 2024 due to the interest rate on the court judgment. And he had only paid the Ronald Goldman estate, $123,000 as of February 2021. I don't even know how that worked. CNN reported that the way in which the Goldman family was able to get some of their money was, remember the book that he wrote, If I Did It, which is just insane. They were actually awarded the rights to the book through the court, and it became a #1 bestseller, and they were actually able to get some of the money back from there.
But still, only $123,000?
No, he gave the family that much money. I think they got more money from the book.
I see.
But could you imagine that that's how you have to get from that horrible book that he describes how he would have killed them if he did kill them? Shame on those publishers. Shame on everybody involved in that. It was interesting to see people talk about it. The discourse was wild because, you know, it brings back up. I'm shocked at how many people still are like, OJ didn't do it. And I was like, what? It was a lot of people on my timeline like, yeah, but I did see a woman even on CNN talk about how a detective took a vial of blood from OJ at the police department and put it in their jacket pocket. And that was evidence that was used to say, hey, you know, you mishandled evidence. You mishandled this, and you could have taken that vial of blood and smeared it all over the crime scene.
True.
Also, that the crime scene was very contaminated.
True.
I mean, reporters were talking about how they just had very minimal police tape, and they just went right under the police tape and was going in to get the story. I mean, they just botched this whole thing. And so that leads you to think like, well, that mixed with his fame, his wealth, the race relations at the time between the police and the black community, I mean, that rendered a not guilty verdict based off of the fact that the police botched a whole bunch of shit and he had fucking lawyers to manipulate that narrative, and the glove didn't fit.
It was an iconic moment. I was very young, but my grandmother was glued to the TV. The white Bronco, Johnny Cochran, the public trial, glued to it.
I want to talk about that because this is when Fox News launches, as like it's all connected to this. CNN is solidified as a cable news and network because of the courtroom TV like coverage of this. CNN was talking about how basically that was the thing that like really solidified them and their popularity, and they became this entity. And also reality TV really set the tone for that and showed people what an appetite there was for this kind of sad to say it, entertainment. It was horrible, but yeah. So now I wanted to play, I won't play it, but everybody should look up YouTube. Howard University Law School reacts to the O.J. Simpson verdict. And this video is very interesting because it starts with young people at a middle school, and it's an older black woman talking to young people and saying, he was found, he had a history of domestic violence, so you have to watch what you do in life, because then people can use what you do to falsely accuse you of bigger and badder things to these young black students. So she was like, OJ didn't do this. He was guilty of some other shit, but they trying to pin this on him. Then you go to American University that's mostly white, and they're like horrified and can't believe in the verdict. And then you go to Howard University Law School, and they're like, yeah, it makes sense to me. I mean, the evidence was da-da-da-da-da. So, and still to this day, this is still pretty much the discourse in a lot of ways. My question is, how should he be remembered? Should he be remembered? It's like R.I.P.
I mean, OJ, you have to be able to hold many things at once, unfortunately, with this one. Yes, and in terms of who he was as an athlete, you can hold his record and his performance and say that was wonderful and love the entertainment that he provided. But like, he was also had years of domestic abuse where it wasn't just like he came out of nowhere and, killed his wife. There's the images,
and her lover.
The images of her bruised, swollen face are also things that I saw. I think those were one of the first images that I would see of domestic abuse. And this was for years. He had children. And to mix this up, to me, with race is really perverse and weird. And
what do you mean by
in terms of him, they're not guilty, it was like, I don't know. I guess some.
There was no way not to, because it was after what's his name?
Yeah, the Rodney King.
Rodney King. Like there was no way not
to.
It was just race was so permeated through the whole trial.
Yeah.
It was about race, and that's why it's
about
like
the murder
he never wanted to be black, but it wasn't. That's the sad part.
And I think that's the perverse part. That makes it really, really perverse, because she was horrifically abused, and it follows the pattern of abuse in terms of abused women that leave and then are murdered by their partners. And then I think, I mean, how can you talk about OJ and not talk about all of those things that intersected with him, as a black man, as an abusive black man, the climate in California at that time. It's impossible. He needs to be remembered for all of those things. And I guess for different people, it carries more significance than other. I always, even when I was younger, I would think about his kids. Like, how are they? How are they? Are they okay? And he always seemed so smug about it. And like, he's weird. He's a fucking weird dude. So handsome as a young man. My goodness, OJ was good looking. Beautiful wife. I don't know.
This is where I might have a go ahead.
Yeah, I can't look at him and not think of more of the negative things, which makes me kind of, I don't care about his legacy as an athlete. His legacy to me is as an abuser and possibly got away with murdering his wife after he abused her to save L.A.
I don't want to forget that he also killed Ronald as well, because I think that we talk a lot about,
or not allegedly. He wasn't convicted of it.
He wasn't convicted of it, never admitted to it, but Ronald Goldman died as well. I mean, unpopular opinion. I don't think we need to remember OJ. I don't want to see nothing for OJ at the ESPYs. I don't think they would do it. I don't want to see him honored.
Oh, honored.
I don't want to see his or legacy. I don't want to see him in the, where they're like, oh, here are the athletes that died this year. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it, especially since just like you said, it would be different if he wasn't so smug about it. But it was like so, I saw the interview where the reporter was like, this is the last time I asked you, but did you do it? He's like, no, I didn't do it. And then she goes, and this is what OJ did after our interview. And she opens the door and he has a fake knife and he goes, eat to her. Like, what? Like, you're playing. Like, you are a sociopath and there's something wrong with you. You wrote a whole book detailing how you would have killed them if you did kill them. Like, bro, go ahead. Just go ahead. The family put out their statement. They said they just looking for some privacy and grace. And I think the grace part was very intentionally put in that statement because
I did not know he was sick. Did you know he was sick?
No. I don't think about O.J. Simpson. For real, I don't. Because what did he do for the community?
Nothing.
Not a goddamn thing. So hopefully there's grace wherever he is now. It's, don't want to see anybody die, I guess. But I'm one of those people that's like, I don't care, but I don't need to see his face anywhere. I see the sports analysts struggle with how to talk about it. Because it's like they got to cover it.
You got to hold it all at once. Ciao.
Especially since and I did not feel that way about, I'm not going to mention who, but somebody else who had some legal problems and was found not guilty. I felt like it was really inappropriate to bring that up. But he also wasn't smug about it and talking about if I did do it. So, tricky. Anyway, that's it. I think the name of this episode is, I don't know, can light-skinned rappers...
Banning biracial rapper beef. Banning the biracials from the rap beef.
Ban
biracial. Should we ban biracials from the rap beef?
That's fucked up. We're anti-biracial.
It's true.
All right, well. Peace to the gods, Sheila.
Old and the new.
Bye. All right, this next one, our Max. You ready?